Kind of like you said, though, the mid-game timing of Azure Ray does look very scary, but I think MOUZ does have the kind of draft that can fight back. It could be an absolute bloodbath of the game, in fact, when you look at both these drafts, as they are running right into each other already. Supreme trying to get deep enough to get that Observer Ward on the high ground of the Radiant, but doesn't quite get there. Or we're trying to do the exact same thing, but we'll hand over the ward to FY to take care of it. But it'll be interesting to see how Ori does deal with the mid lane here. Like, after the laning stage, probably going to be no issues, but during the laning stage could be a little bit annoying for this.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit... It's going to be a bit of a nuisance for Ori early on. Like, they have to capitalize on that for Supreme. He has to get this really strong timing on the urn into the Spirit Vessel and kind of just try to run from there. If that timing's met a lot quicker, like say you managed to get a rotation in as well at the 4-minute rune, I think that's pretty big, even before the power runes, just capitalize on the Storm just not being able to escape. You can kind of have a good time here on MOUZ, just kind of focus sights onto Ori. Azure has set up quite nicely though. Early wards to watch on this top jungle and across the river. They can back up Ori quite nicely in case rotation does come in. Or get some good chip damage on Narman too.
I mean, Narman's just dead, I think, here. They've got the Ghoul Frenzy, plus it slows out from the Veno. I mean, Narman trying his best to run out of here, but he's gone. First blood to go the way of low, and that is arguably the worst case scenario for MOUZ to start this game.
And that's not a good note for MOUZ to kick off on. A bit of a boost for low, a bit of faster timing on his initial bracer into the phase boots. Can feel nice and quick for him. At the very least, I guess it's better than like the mids getting free first blood. Like Ori getting a little bit of a faster bottle could help him in the rougher part of this lane that we're watching. And Supreme should have a pretty decent time. Get some good taunt shots onto Ori. You can't really leverage your static remnant or the electric vortex double overload kind of play at level 3 up against a range matchup like that. So again, Supreme should have probably the best lane of everyone here. Good snipe from the Courier though to at least take care of that Orb of Venom, which would make it even more hellish for Force to play that lane. But again, Low's already kind of set up. A minute to land Orb of Venom, not that big of a deal, considering that he'd want to soak into 2-3 anyway before getting extra aggressive on the Lifestealer.
I mean, certainly so. At least nothing kind of making up for the first blood he gave away. You know, kind of denying that goal for the next minute. Looks like he's going to go for a creep pull as well down this bottom lane, just understanding that the lane is very challenging for Force Heal and the Primal Beast. I mean, you are up against Veno and Lifestealer. It's not going to be fun even at level 1. So Narman's going to go for the pull away, because we are going to have a slight contest here from Qian Ming, but it isn't going to amount to too much. Also go ahead and take the creep wave off Narman's hands. And this is basically what I think you're going to be doing for the next few minutes here for MOUZ. It's kind of impossible to lane against Lifestealer Venom. I would say it's too melee here.
Yeah, it's just way too punishing from the side of Azure Ray. They're both just going to have to soak up as best as they can, which hurts Norman the most because he's going to have to sacrifice all of that to Force. Like, he's not going to be able to play as greedy on the Tiny that we know a lot of Tinies do need. A little bit more trading back and forth on mid. Again, Supreme is having an excellent time, but at the very least isn't able to snowball too hard. They did block the camp as well, right by that tier 1. The Supreme doesn't have that backup to kind of just build up with the Illuminate. That's holding him back from really hitting some insane timings on the Kotal. Still, Ori doing a decent enough job of just trying to equalize this lane, and as hard as this is for him, is doing a pretty decent job of just keeping up. Last lane we haven't really looked at is up top. You do have Olnet and Bangin, although they are trying down bot here. Just a bit.
I was looking at mid lane again. Supreme's being so annoying. Like, he just keeps going up and down, not letting Ori get to the water rune. Ori finally manages to pick one up, and Supreme's really just abusing the movement speed difference between the two. Because he does have the brown boots already, so Ori really had to work very hard to get that water rune for himself, but he does eventually get it.
Gets the rune, and he does manage to at least drag the creep wave under his tower so he can safely try to CS. Again, considering the lane being 2 CS behind with just 3 denies ahead on Supreme, not the worst thing in the world for Ori. Could be a lot worse. They have at least, again, covered that medium camp as well by the tier 1 there. Prevents Supreme from catching on too much. No rotations in just yet into the 4-minute water rune. Maybe the first power runes when it starts to come up. And that's where some of the concerns from the bot lane start to pour out, right? Like where the lower levels of Narman can cause some issues. Still, again, top lane that we haven't really talked about too much. You've got Olnet and Bengin on the Luna and the Pugna up against Bach on that Centaur, along with FY in the Hoodwink. And this lane, pretty straightforward to play for Azure Ray. Luna up against Centaur is not the best for Luna. You are pretty much almost like a melee range here. You're in the firing range of the Hoof Stomp and Double Edge. Once you've got a few more levels, maybe level 3 to 4 here, you can start to pressure quite hard onto Olnit. Bengen can only do so much to save. And every single time he tries to harass, of course, it's going to shove that wave in just a little bit more as well.
Absolutely. Fox doing a great job here up at that top lane for sure. Olnit's trying to get aggressive now with Bengun, but it's a bit too challenging here against Centaur, and he'll just stout himself up. Perfectly fine. Props to Ori as well, looking back at that mid lane. 22-2 in terms of CS, actually overtaking Supreme on the Keeper of the Light Circle. You say what you will, but Ori, he has managed to really equalize the lane very, very nicely, and should be able to retreat to the jungle relatively soon and just farm up there instead if he really wants to. A good news here if you are an Azure Ray fan, because all the lanes have gone very well for them.
Yeah, it's all lining up. Again, the slight leads for Supreme isn't snowballing as hard with the block camp. No one's gotten to deward it just yet. Supreme just finds it now. At the very least, he does have his Urn. So one rotation later, he could start to play. They are making aggressive plays on Qianming.
Yeah, Qianming in trouble. Lowe's going to intervene, but they do manage to pick up the Venomancer kill. So a nice pickup. I believe that was a tossback setup from Narman for T1 Tower, so a nice easy setup for Force. But certainly a very important kill considering the bottom lane is going a little bit slowly here for now.
It's certainly not the pacing you'd want. Again, Narman's still stuck at level 2, just being zoned out, forced to give Force pretty much everything in that lane. Just all that solo EXP, all that solo farm, considering there's very little to go around. Does give the opportunity for Qianming to bottle top up Ori. Again, can manage that lane a little bit better. No sentry still on that one camp. So again, farming pace for Supreme. Held back a little bit. I'm a little bit surprised they're not going to be dragging as many people into the 6-minute marker. They're about 20 seconds away. Qianming is ready. They have the vision to cover the wards. It does feel like it's pretty big to deny that off from Ori. Still, Supreme's setting his sights down bot. No one's there. And again, there were wards to watch at. So Azure Ray sees this movement perfectly clear.
Yeah, real shame as well. The sentry ward down at bottom lane was right out of range of the observer ward from the Radiant. So, of course, Supreme rotating with the Urn up, trying to get those initial Urn charges, but is going to be denied those Urn charges, which is, again, a pretty big deal for the Keep. We've seen games where mid-coddles just never get Urn charges for the first, say, 10-15 minutes, and it completely stops the game for them. If they can't get the charges, their game is just dead. The Supreme has to try to find a way to get these charges going. He'll head down bottom again, but that ward is still standing there. He's going to run right into it in a moment, and that's it. They know he's there. There's no way they're going to die. Like, Lowe cannot die here. He knows the Keeper's around.
No. It's just really good vision coverage. They use the space really well in the Azure Ray, or he starts shoving in mid, cutting the wave. They've got, again, a very free lane for bot up top. 59 to 10.
Qianming, he gets a little bit excited. He kind of messes around with the Plague Wards and Force. Onslaughts from a mile away and secures the kill for his Coddle. And there's your charges. A bit of an awkward error there, I think, from Qianming, because now you've got the Urn charges ready to go, and Supreme, he's starting roaming.
DP's up top, not going to find the opportunity just yet up here. A bit surprising. They had the vision coverage to know that everyone is hanging around there. And they had the opportunity to just play it safe, pull back a little bit more. This opening now for the MOUZ is the start. Spirit Vessel only about 500 gold away as well for Supreme. That upgrade's going to cause some havoc here, especially onto someone like, say, Bach, or even the Lifestealer if Rage is down. Just cutting off some of that regen in the middle does make it a lot tougher for them to sustain through some longer engagements. Let's see, Ori's still trying to sneak around. He did manage to take the D ward. Does want to start maybe playing around with Qianming hanging in the area. But the commitment is here from MOUZ. Narman, Bengen, and Supreme just hanging mid for that next power rune.
Oh, it's a regen too. That's very nice. He's going to jump in immediately onto Supreme, but there is a lot of heroes here from MOUZ. Oh, even Force with the TP does cancel eventually. MOUZ just having 3 surrounding Supreme, ensuring he cannot die, but of course Ori now just going to abuse the regeneration rune and just take stats. That's a perfect rune for him. He didn't even need it. He already had a good lane as it was.
Yeah, now he just gets to build up way faster. He's going into the Kaya first, so looking for a little bit of sustain, and wants to drag out the man a little bit more and get a little bit more chip damage as well. In every jump in, they will find Qianming.
Bit of an issue again. Force is going to have the easiest alley-oop of his life. Qianming is going to die. A nice pick up there for Naaman now. Supreme actually did come in range to get the earn charge as well, so happy days for him. Yanming always kind of playing around that fifth area, just trying to abuse the Plague Wards, but again does get caught with his pants down.
Some really good punishment out from MOUZ. Not the biggest kill, but all of these kills early on are super important for them to find. They're going to be trying to build off the back of that. They do have the Spirit Vessel on hand now. For Supreme, flying out on the Courier. So that full upgrade should make easy work of some of these cores here. They will find Force, but do they have enough with just the two supports? Looks like they will try.
Fourth. It will be okay.
Oh, I hear the claw sound as well. I'm pretty sure that's just coming out from Force himself. So they are just kind of trying to bully him out. He's still fairly happy. Again, he's had a slower lane, but he's had some kills coming out. It's been just extra slow all over the place. And side of Azure Ray are in a pretty good position right now. 1-3 TK up. Behind in kills, but again, they've worked these lanes out really well. They are trying on mid.
That's a big pick-up. Yeah. Very, very nice one for MOUZ. You are a MOUZ Esports fan, and or you're not going to be too happy with that death, but it's still fine. He's second in net worth right now, still sitting pretty happy. MOUZ, though, going to smoke up and try to make something happen along with that kill as they will head up top. Look towards Bark on the Centaur. So Soulmine is out. Bark going to be slowed up with the Spirit Vessel being applied. Naaman trying to go for the Avalanche, but the Stampede was there just in the nick of time, and now well, the turnaround was going to happen as already did TP in, but they decide better.
It's a little bit too deep. No one else is in the area outside of the storm. They need the backup of the supports here to bring up.
Why?
Why?
A lot of danger. They missed the initial Illuminate. Ori is going to zip in. FY does go down, and now the Avalanche! Oh, Ori tries to make something happen, but Naaman with the Avalanche toss does make it very, very hard, and he gives his life away again.
Just another pickup here for MOUZ. Again, this is the timing they need to play around. This is when they're really strong with his Cottle pickup, maximizing out that Spirit Vessel, trying to punish out maybe the slowness of Azure Ray once more. We've seen this a couple of times from this lineup where they're shooting for more like a 20-25 minute timing, early, like a mid-game spike into a late-game kind of scale. And MOUZ are just playing tempo. They haven't quite capitalized on any opportunity to take towers just yet, which is the next step that we need to see them take. They've got Chakra plus Nether Blast, making short work of any objective is not going to take too long. Off the back of a pick-off into a shove. So just kind of need to get that going for themselves here if they find a chance. The only hero really suffering has been Force, but again, Primal Beast is a very self-sufficient hero. It doesn't need that many items. It really just needs a lot of EXP. And he's at level 8, a pretty decent spot considering the slowness of his lane. Already at least has his Soul Ring and Phase Boots to help run down and isn't too far off from the full Veil. So some good timing still being met here by the side of MOUZ. But Azure Ray, again, they're not really under pressure to play that fast themselves. So as long as they minimize these losses, get that continuous build-up on Bach and on Low, and sometimes connect with Ori now that he has Kaya, you are still set for a fairly free time. Again, Bach's lane has been left alone for so long. He's got the blink up. Low has been AFK farming down bot as well, working his way into the Radiance. And it doesn't feel like they have any good contest for that just yet. They are dragging more heroes down bot, but Low has not been caught out here. It might just be Chan Ming again.
Yeah, I mean, Low's had a very free game so far, just farming absolutely freely. They are going to try and pressure the bottom tier 1 tower now. Low is going to reveal himself underneath the creep wave. The Supreme is around, but it's very challenging to actually secure a kill when the Low has Rage available at any moment. Very hard to initiate and actually lock him down long enough, I think. MOUZ, maybe not seeing the opportunity. They will retreat just for a little bit. You do have Olnett and Naaman also connecting to their team down at the bottom lane. You've got the Veil up as well on Force, so perhaps they want to try and abuse this little spike on the Primal. Of course, they do want that tier 1 tower to open up this section of the map a little bit here for their own carry. And it seems though as though Azure Ray probably will just let it go. Where there's just no real point in defending.
Yeah, I mean, it served its purpose for long enough. You are expecting this lineup on MOUZ to push. There's no need to overcommit too much, although Tianming again.
Gets caught out. Narman, he's got the Spidey senses were tingling for this Venomancer, and be another easy kill onto the Veno. Supreme will secure that one. They'll get the tier 1 bottom tower. Nice and clean here from Nouns Esports. And it's just back to farm. In fact, now Ulnit is at the top of the net worth board, so happy days.
And that's just to be expected for the Luna with levels. With Moonglaves, clear through these camps a lot easier. He's had a lot of free space up top. Almost the same kind of space that Bach was receiving, just AFK farming their lanes. They did manage to clear mid here in the meantime. Ori does manage to keep those creep waves shoved out. He does manage to find probably a more favorable tower trade, setting up for this forward vision they've planted. Still have the sneaky ward by the large camp in that top jungle as well.
Thought they might have a crack at Bach top lane, but they decide better of it. Narman and Supreme instead going through the twin gates to head down towards the bottom lane. Low is farming the bottom area, but he is well and truly quite far away from MOUZ at the moment. The Force may just run into him, and will. But it'll just force him away from this area. It's not going to be a big jump in of any sort. He is kind of by himself at the moment here, Force. I do appreciate MOUZ starting to really take control of the map. They do not want to allow Low to free farm wherever the hell he wants. Of course, you do have a lifesteal plus a storm plus a centaur, so it is kind of greedy right now as every core just wants to hit creeps. And MOUZ trying their absolute best to make the map a lot smaller against Azure Ray.
Yeah, Azure Ray still has a good readout. They're playing on the opposite side. They've got wards basically now acting as defensive wards to farm up top. They are under pretty good coverage to just play this game. MOUZ are hugging down bot as well, trying to pressure. They are starting to get some pushback with Bengen and that maxed out Nether Blast, which is again a strength of this lineup, just how quickly they can do low committal pushes, just like this with just one hero. So they are starting to open up that map more. It just doesn't feel like Azure is really losing out, although, FY.
In danger, FY. He's going to have some help incoming. Force will just blow him up with the onslaught, but here comes the cavalry. In fact, they won't jump in. They see too many heroes from MOUZ. It's just not worth the jump. Even Bengen now showing up as well with his team. Olnit's not even far off. He's quite nearby his team as well. Ori could be in a spot of danger if he does get caught.
You have the Orchid.
Be able to quite reach him in time, I don't think. Oh, they do. Supreme gets him. Stampede's going to allow Ori to get away though, but Force, he does jump in. Missing out on the onslaught, however. Low's going to go right onto Bengen. They'll try after the Pugna first. Meanwhile, Buck is dropping very, very low on the Centaur. Buck is gone. So is Ori. Low is trying to run. Low should be okay, but the chase continues. He's going to infest onto Tianming. Tianming gets caught though. Tianming's down. The silence is out. Low's been caught to boot. 4 down for the side of Azure Ray. They do at least take down Narman on the way out, but it's still a horrible fight for Azure Ray and a great fight for MOUZ.
I like the disengage coming out there from Bach, the Stampede to bail out Ori. But then Low comes running back in, uses the Rage. They've got BKB Pierce, but at least Pulverize. And that forces Ori back in to use the Vortex to stop that, but he wasn't in a healthy position. They take that fight without any of their magic resistance up as well. They've been farming up for 2 Eternal Shrouds. One on Bach, one on Ori. Neither one is up yet. And all of that magical damage that you're pumping out right now in MOUZ is just ripping the side of Azure Ray apart. They need to wait for some of these items. Very forced fight from Azure Ray. It did feel like they were looking for an opportunity back in, knowing that the commitment was there for the first Orchid, but it's just a little bit too much magical damage right now. Not enough sustain, not enough durability coming out on Azure Ray, and they are punished severely for it. It also feels like for Azure Ray, they play best if they can play off the back of Bach initiating along with Ori. Instead of the counter initiation, they were playing from the low ground. They were playing into almost the vision control area of MOUZ. They have been hugging this area for a long time. They managed to finally make it pay off, forcing Azure Ray to take a fight they can't hope to win. And this should lead to another just steady siege. And with Bengen around, it doesn't take that much to just chip away at these tier 2 towers.
Absolutely not. MOUZ doing a fantastic job thus far in this game. When it's Narman again jumps in. Ori gets caught. Narman. I mean, Narman has just been so good this game. Now, even Force jumping in to take the sharpshooter, ensuring Narman has no chance of dying. But man, I'll tell you what, considering the start Narman had, Considering the fact that he's basically been starved this game, this man has had so much impact.
It's something we see with all the Tinies. All they need is that blink and they can start to make magic happen. Narman, of course, a very prolific Tiny player, as we've seen in his time in Southeast Asia. Doing great work with, after a very slow lane, even Forest, right? Like he was bullied out for a long time. He only had like phase boots, soul ring for that much time. He has the veil up. He's very close to his own Eternal Shroud, which again, that's something they've been waiting for here on the side of Azure Ray. Just going to be that much harder to shove Force off. 3-13, 3K lead for MOUZ. Oh, another one.
Yeah, they got another. But Tianming getting caught out again in the mid lane. Supreme able to secure that kill. With the way this game's going, I mean, MOUZ are just well and truly in complete control of this game one. You kind of ask yourself how Azure Ray come back in this one. It's just so much tempo right now from the dire end.
It's a little bit surprising they keep trying to walk into this bot jungle, right? Like, and they keep playing in this position beneath their tier 2 down bot, which has always been spotted out by Norman. Feels like they had the right idea earlier on, play across the river, farm on the other side of the map, set your wards up there as defensive wards rather than offensive wards, and just hug the area across the river up top. I think that was the safest bet for them. They lose control of that area now, especially with their tier 1 set to fall with Ulnut showing up. And the key timings for MOUZ are starting to line up. The timings we're looking for from Azure Ray. Yes, they've got Radiance and low. Oh, they catch one. And they find a nice little Pugna, but it feels like this timing for Azure Ray is not going to be as terrifying, especially considering how far ahead Ulnut is. He's got his Manta, he's going straight for the BKB. There's not going to be as much threat coming out on him. And once the Luna scales up, with all of the sustain you get with your Moonglaves active, it can be a little bit hard when some lifesteal is in that equation as well.
Here come MOUZ though, John. They want revenge. Ori has no idea. Force is right nearby and they've got him. They have got him. A slight second he could have responded with, but it won't matter. He gets caught out. Ori will go down once again, this time to Narman. Game only gets harder and harder now as that bottom T2 tower just about to fall, and it seems as though MOUZ should have their way with it. I'm looking for a little bit more in that Radiant jungle, seeing if there's any stragglers left. But it does appear they really just want to secure the bottom tier 2.
Yeah, it's not going to take too long with Bengen. Again, this kind of highlights the build as well for Ori, right? He rushed for the Kaya into the Eternal Shroud. With the Orchid that you'd expect to come out from Supreme, no ults, no real defensive items. Going back for the Kaya Sange for some stat resist, it doesn't feel like that's going to be enough. I don't think stat resist, at least last I checked, it doesn't properly resist Pulverize for whatever reason as a channeled stun. So you're still going to have that hard hold available on Force anyhow. It does feel like they need something defensive for Ori to actually play his game. We'll see if that Sange helps out with the Kai Sange, but again, MOUZ, they're eating away on this map. Free Siege coming out with Bengen. There's no one to really punish the Pugna. Like, they punch him once or twice, but they don't have that steady jump. It has to be from Bach. Bach is still farming up as well. He's been taking all of the safe farm up top instead of taking that risk down bottom mid. And it's just making it so awkward for Ori and for Low to kind of try to scale up.
Yeah, I think they're prioritizing the Lotus Orb build up here on Bach, and of course FY is, in fact, it was Tianming trying to get it. But you do have Tianming with the Lotus Orb now. That's one way to get rid of that silence. There'll be another one coming out on Bach, and I think Azure Ray just kind of recognized that the itemization here is just much more important with those Lotus Orbs than anything else at the moment. At the very least, Low is still hitting creeps to boot, so you're kind of happy with the Life Stealer. Of course, Ori is kind of the one getting shafted here on the Storm. But it is what it is. Like, you've got to get these Lotus Orbs up. There's no two ways about it. They'll smoke up here on Azure Ray. They'll try to head through the Radiant jungle and see if they can find a decent fight. Problem is, though, MOUZ has also smoked up around this area. Force is going to move his way in, trying to find himself a target. Though nobody will stick around from Azure Ray. They will all retreat. Line's being drawn through to the mid lane. Here comes Ulnut. Smoke's still not broken on this Luna, but they will see Low there for a second. Avalanche is out. They will miss out, though, Low. He's going to turn right back around. Narman is the big target on the Tiny. Though Narman is actually surviving throughout all of this, just being healed up by the Illuminate of Supreme. Nobody is really going down. It just makes these fights so hard, because Supreme just sets up the Illuminates in a way that you can't really avoid them. Ori? Zips away, TP is there, he should be alright. Nama did not have Blink available at the time to blink in an avalanche.
It's rough going for Azure Ray. They forced the Stampede to just get out. Rage popped early as well by Low, but no real easy targets to go for. He had to go back for a BKB on the Lifestealer as well, just to have that double debuff immunity, which is pretty big here, but it does mean you're kind of lacking a little bit more damage on the Lifestealer than you'd want. Gonna go back for the Kai Sanj as well.
Nama again gonna find himself a nice free target. Bark's gonna try and jump in here though. Bark, I'm not sure about that. They don't have many teammates around yet. Ori is incoming, but they'll have to let FY go. There is no saving the Hoodwink this time. Props to FY, by the way, John. He's going straight for the Gleipnir build-up, so not messing around. Understands he does need to creep skip as much as humanly possible here in this game one. Would not mess around with any support items. But my god, I mean, it's a long way to go for Azure Ray to try and turn this game.
That it is. MOUZ is just understanding how strong they are in the earlier portions of the game, just completely shutting down the side of Azure Ray and just playing their offense a lot better. I expected maybe a little bit more, honestly, from Azure Ray down bot. Like Lo and Chanming, the Venomancer, and the Lifestealer. Chanming just giving out a couple of kills too many. Kind of maximize that lane. It still provides a way back in for MOUZ. 3k advantage for MOUZ, not the biggest in the world at 25 minutes in, but it is a lot on Olnet. This Luna is just becoming a force to be reckoned with. Has the Phylactery up, has the BKB going next for the Conda, of course, into Roshan as well. And this one's going to go very quickly. Azure Ray should have an idea that something's happening there. It's not falling that as fast as you'd expect. Let's see if the smoke lines up for anything.
Now, MOUZ are going to back their way out. They'll be patient. Bark, he's the one looking to move in. A long wrap around through the Twin Gate. Around the Roshan pit he goes. A lot of patience from both sides. The Plague Wards will give it a lot of vision as Bark. Oh, he may have found Supreme. They don't see him yet, but pings are coming out. Bark seems to know that the Keeper is there. They need to blow this man up. The thing is, he has a BKB up now, and Supreme, he's going to see him. The BKB is there in time. They cannot blow up the Keeper. Low now, he's in a very awkward position. They'll just hold him down and just smash him with force. Oh, it was a nice idea, but they didn't see the BKB. Tianming also caught, tossed away onto FY. He's down. I love the idea from Vark, but they had no idea Supreme had the BKB ready.
It was too fragmented as well from Azure Ray, right? Like they're flanking on the right side, and Bach, along with Low, are already all the way managing to run behind that Roche pit. The scan spotted them out as well from MOUZ that allowed them to take this more defensive position in the tree line and cut off that movement from Azure Ray. Just a difficult game for them to rotate in. Great read from MOUZ, and have themselves access to that first Roche quite nicely. 4-19, 7k lead up for MOUZ. And for the side of Azure Ray, it's just falling further and further behind. Your concern as this game goes on is just even trying to match the Luna. You're not even close to that. You're still behind Supreme in almost all of your cores. You're going to need a little bit more. Feels like we need to be able to see Ori and Bach kind of set up these fights together for Azure Ray, as it does feel like the initiation's been fragmented. It's been Bach alone, or it's been Ori being caught out alone. We need to see them work as a unit. That smoke could have been the play, but again, they were just too far apart. The scan just cut right through between them.
That it certainly did. Well, Oln's alone at the top lane. His team is trying to connect. Azure Ray not going to mess around with the Luna right now. She does have Aegis up, of course. BKB once again available for Olnwood. Now, as they understand how powerful they are, they're going to try and go... Oh, Narman! Oh. Jumps in again. Osback is there. He found Bark with that one, though. Bark is a bit too tanky, and Narman's the one going down. Though the heal is going to come in. They're trying to keep him alive, but no. Narman is down. The problem is Ori might be going down with him. Ori still trying to survive, but he will drop. Low in the meantime, trying to save this situation, but needs to get the hell out of there. But they are going to smoke up. They'll try to reinitiate. Bengen's healing up force. They'll try to reset with all the hills coming in. FY will hold down all that. In goes Buck, trying to blow up the Luna, but the hills again. The hills are keeping everyone alive. Buck is gone. It's just too much. Life Drain plus the Illuminate. It's so much healing coming in. Olnet's still not dying. He still has the Aegis up. They won't get the T2 tower at least. I suppose the big positive here for Azure Ray, but that's about it.
It's a rough go for Azure Ray. Just feels like none of these fights are... They're not able to start any of these fights. They're only able to punish Norman, but that's still MOUZ opening up the engagement instead of Azure Ray. They're just not able to jump in, and they need to. Their counter initiation just doesn't feel as strong on the side of Azure Ray. They need to take care of all of that regen in the back, blow up Bang and try to isolate Supreme somehow, which is easier said than done. They have access onto the high ground now with a lot of time left on that Aegis. No outer towers left here for Azure Ray. Oh,
Narman! Oh, Narman! Narman's playing volleyball with the side of Azure Ray here, John. FY being caught as well. FY getting completely annihilated by Ulnit and Supreme. Bark is trying to hold back Force in the meantime. Low jumps in. Low loses half his HP and jumps right back out. Narman, oh, he's found another. My goodness. Narman, have some mercy. Give him a break, Narman. They've had enough, sir.
I mean, he can't stop, you know. Narman, he's a machine once he starts getting going. And he does manage to get it going. Looking for the high five from Force, but that's just Force being Force. He's starting to feel himself. You know when Force starts to feel himself. When Nico starts dropping some of that, and the GG is called from Azure Ray. MOUZ is a spectacular early game performance, playing off the back of the sustain. Again, considering all of the things that happened in this game, it did feel like Ori was finding himself a better lane than you'd expect. But the side lanes went a lot worse for Azure Ray than they'd want to, especially Chanming and Low's lane. The Venmancer Lifestealer didn't really slow down Force that badly.
Yeah,
they did slow down Narman a little bit. Sure, the level spikes were a little bit slower. The Blink still came out in time because Chanming was in the firing line. Like, they had all this vision, and they would still get the gank in the Veno.
Yeah, that was my problem, right? I think that's where things went really wrong. He rotated twice. The second time, you think to yourself, oh, Supreme's going to waste his time again. Doesn't get the Urge. But no, Tianming, for some reason, shows up, reveals his position, Force onslaughts immediately, understanding the range he has, because he's played the hero about 1 billion times now. And from that point on, you give him the Urn charges, and Supreme just starts popping off and controlling the whole map. Ends up with 8-0-14 for a scoreline on the Keeper of the Light. Obviously, we can't go on without talking about Narman as well, Jonathan. My goodness, this tiny. How many setups did we have from Narman?
Oh, he did so much work right outside vision. He'd spot out anyone that would just try to push out the lanes by the tier 2s. It felt like nowhere was safe. This fight was the one that was so split up. They were all kind of wrapping around here into the right side of Roshan, whereas Bach was already right by the pit behind. And again, the scan cut them off. They were isolated completely. Really good read from MOUZ. And it just felt like Azure Ray could not play any game. Like, they couldn't initiate on their own terms. It was Narman jumping onto them first with a backup of Force, and they played with confidence on MOUZ, whereas Azure Ray just felt like they weren't ready. This also could go back to a little bit of that item build. Ori went for the Kai, which is natural for the Storm, then went straight for Eternal Shroud instead of anything that's like a harder defense, maybe a U-ult, maybe even a PKB. They were relying on like Lotus Orb plays to remove the Orchid, but that was just way too much pressure when they're all scattered apart and how these fights break out. It's just too much for them to try to work into. On top of the pressure on Ori to try to jump the backline, he can't do that independently without the Lotus protection on him, which is from his backline supports, which are way too far away.
Yeah, a very difficult game, obviously. With the draft they had, they tried their absolute best to secure enough farm on all 3 cores, but there was just too much that was required once MOUZ were online. And again,
Blink BKB, we've seen them go back for Arcane Boots Mech into Guardian Greaves, going for the old Aura build. I think either one works quite nicely. There's also an argument for maybe something like a Shivas if your team really needs it. The build-up is comfy enough for Bach as well, or the Dominator that we've seen a couple times before in some earlier qualifiers this year. All of that still stands. But it's really just the 15 to 20 minute mark really is the concern here for Azure Ray. I don't expect MOUZ to slow down at all in comparison to Game 1 here.
Absolutely not, as Low and Supreme try to give high fives to each other, but Bengen does intervene and gets a few right clicks in. Very rude of Bengen. Hopefully the Void won't mind too much. He'll just passively heal up, as they are actually going to go for a 5-man smoke. The level 1 timing of Azure Ray definitely seems a little bit, perhaps a little bit more potent here with the clockwork. And the CM, of course, they'll rotate through the mid-river up towards the Dire jungle. MOUZ are being very careful. They'll just hang by their tier 1 tower at the moment in the mid lane. You would love to get off to a nice start by getting a first blood here as Azure Ray. They will hang around on the high ground of that Dire jungle, hoping somebody does come back with the bounty. Alnet, he's thinking about Kate through the mid-river, up towards the Dire jungle. MOUZ are being very careful. They'll just hang by their tier 1 tower at the moment in the mid lane. You would love to get off to a nice start by getting a first blood here as Azure Ray. They will hang around on the high ground of that Dire jungle, hoping somebody does come back with the bounty. Alnet, he's thinking about it, but he knows something's wrong, or maybe he doesn't. He'll run right into them. Bengen's going to try and be there to help out, but Alnet is dropping a little bit too fast and will go down as even Bengen has to start with Voodoo Restoration now. It is what it is. First blood will go the way of Ori. A perfect start by Azure Ray.
That's exactly what they need to do. Try to bully out in these first few levels. They're level 1. It's a lot more impressive. And it does take some time for the Bristleback to ramp up in lane as well. So Olnet's going to have to wait a little bit longer to really get rolling there on the Bristle. Taking a look at that mid matchup just a little bit here. Supreme up against Ori on the TA versus Zeus. Again, first level or two is not going to feel too great for Supreme. By level 3, would say level 2 Refraction. Should hold steady, should be able to just farm up with no issues. Ori going to have to cop a couple of side blade strikes as well, which does not feel great for the Zeus. Not the most durable here on the mid lane. Supreme shouldn't be having as rough of a time. Should be able to line up those melt strikes quite nicely on a ranged hero. And be able to manage that quite well, as we're seeing initially already. The side lanes this time around for the side of Azure Ray. I mean, Low should have a better time in just farming. The offensive capability of Faceless Void plus CM, not as great. And there's like time dilation, early value that you can try to apply, but it does feel like Force and Narman should have themselves a better time now on bot. Again, we talked about Force not having the best starts last time. On a decent start, that timer we're looking for from MOUZ just gets up there that much quicker.
That it absolutely does. There is no doubt that that Force and Narman should have a much better laning stage than they did last game around. At least an easier laning stage. Of course, the other side lane, top lane, you've got Falcon FY against Bengun and Olnet. This is another lane that does feel like it should go pretty smoothly for the side of MOUZ. So FY can make it a little bit hard here on the clockwork, but ultimately I think when you're up against the Bristleback, chances are you are going to be fine.
Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit more annoying for Bach. It's not going to be as easy for him to play with his Eidolons for sure. But you have some good aggression. If you can isolate out with a Malphus into just the Cogs Battery Assault, it's not going to take too long to melt someone like Bengen down. Even Olnet, pre-level 3, level 4, Bristleback is somewhat manageable here. Oh, FY.
FY move in. We'll try to abuse Olnet early on. Eidolons will be there. Olnet, he does have the Voodoo Restoration from Bengen. In fact, no, FY is the one in danger. Blood Grenade does land, but they will not have the follow-up damage, I do not believe, to kill off FY. So he will be just fine. Pretty a lot of action at the top lane. You can see both sides trying to establish dominance at this top lane, but it does seem like ultimately Olnet is going to have the better time.
And he is. Again, hard to leverage. The Eidolons just farm up here for Bach and FY. Whenever he does make that play, as long as Olnet gets some flash mana out, it's always a risk of just getting turned around with a Quill Spray. Bengen also holding onto a Mango to force feed onto Olnet. Did force feed one earlier on. They've got the Lotus control as well. They're feeling pretty happy here on the Bristle. Overall, though, all the lanes for Azure Ray looking pretty sharp. At released Ori's, but everything else for the side of MOUZ is still going strong. Like Supreme down mid, matching Ori. Olnet having a better time, way better time than Low in comparison at bot. And that's, again, kind of to be expected with this kind of draft. Like the laning phase does feel a lot stronger for MOUZ. They are doing a great job of just maximizing getting that start they'd want on all of their heroes. My main concern is just how much Supreme can get, right? Like level 4 TA now, 2 Refraction, 2 Side Blades. Not going to be under any kill threat from Ori. Rune control is massively important for Azure Ray here as well.
A lot of damage coming out. FY, he found a very nice Cogs. Problem is now they're trying to turn on FY, and Olnet is getting healed up. FY! Oh, he's trying to play on the edge, but he will go down. The stick charges will make it impossible to finish Olnet off. Bengen with that level 2 Voodoo Restoration, making it very hard to actually get the damage off.
Again, it's that risk, right? You isolate Olnet. There's a lot of sustain coming out. I do like that Bengen's just going for a 1-2 build. No Maldic, not necessary when you're with a Bristleback in lane. All you have to do is survive. and pump out those good quill sprays out. And again, you're having a great time. They are starting to apply a little bit of pressure onto Force, but
Bottom lane, Jianming gonna find himself in danger. Couple Shadow Poison stacks, but not quite enough. Now Force the one in danger. Low will turn. Force, heal up just a little bit. One more hit, the uproar. Oh, Low, he's got it. Like Narman now. Needs to run. The chase is on. Low should have him. Frostbite will be there. Narman trying to juke out as best as humanly possible. Actually takes down Tianming on the way out. But a double kill for Low is certainly going to feel very well worth it for Azure Ray.
yeah, that's exactly what you want to see for Azure Ray. Getting some punishment out onto Force. That time dilation when the full commitment is out from Force. Just so painful for the Primal Beast as well. Can't really chase down with Trample. Can't try to bail out. He's very reliant on trying to spam his spells in like moderate duration fights. Not as easy to find out up against the Face's Void. Still, that does give some room out for the much more important lanes to just do what they want. Like Supreme's not under pressure. They're tied into keeping out Crystal Maiden bot. He's able to clear out his camps. He's able to get some rune control on the water runes. They can start to contest as well. For the power runes initially, Narman's kind of close by in the area. And
Ori. Well, Narman, Frostbite should be there. Ori will happily take a kill for himself. Tianming will take it for him. Ori could have taken that with the Thunder God's Wrath, but decides better off.
yeah, a little bit overkill. And again, Norman trying to scout out to set up for these 6-minute runes does get punished. Supreme left alone to try to contest. Is he gonna get lucky? Oh, he does. Gets the region rune denied away from Ori, which he would have loved to keep playing that lane. Again, I feel like despite the losses you're taking with some of these support trades, with maybe the bot lane, you know, kind of repeating from game one, your wins from top and mid are that much bigger. Right? This TA going to have a good timing into Dragonlance or Blink Rush if that's the way Supreme wants to play. You've got free space for Ulnit to work onto a very fast Ags with no real answers early on. You do have bot going back for the Spirit Vessel, so you do have some ways of slowing down some of that regen early on at the very least, but it does feel like you're still in a good position here for MOUZ, although it's not as bad for Azure as you'd expect.
Absolutely not. Azure Ray doing a pretty splendid job so far throughout this laning stage. Cannot complain whatsoever.
FY?
Now FY does get caught. We'll go down to Ulnit. So a very nice pick off here for the position 1 Bristleback. They might do well in lanes, but the issue is going to be, again, the mid-game time. Like, once Ulnit and their TA are ready to go, that's when you're really going to be tested as Azure Ray as to whether you can hold these guys back. Mind you, with all these big spells that you do have in the Black Hole and the Chrono, you know, one good Black Hole, one good Chrono could put a complete stop to the tempo that MOUZ will be trying to set through the mid-game. But that is if you land those spells.
Yeah, it's a pretty big if. And mind you, you do have decent setup to try to get multiple heroes in. You can kind of start off with your CM with a Frostbite first, or go for the hookshot from FY down the line. There are ways to kind of line that up for low. And again, you have some good damage to throw into either controlled spells. Got the Zeus would allow it to pump out. Even a Crystal Maiden. Freezing Field's going to make a big difference, whether or not it's available in some of these fights. Force isolated a bit here.
Certainly he is. Tries to go for the onslaught, but immediately it is cancelled off by the Frostbite. You pop the uproar, but you've got the Chrono from low. He is not messing around. He just wants to kill. And Jianming will take it. That's all right.
And a kill, it's a kill. You're happy enough to get something off the Chrono, even though it does go to a support. That does give room as well for Ori to just grab up his Haste Rune. Wrong spot there for Supreme, so the Zeus can get some play in. Does spot out the stacks being built up by Narman. They could contest a little bit here. Not much the lone Shadow Demon can really do to hold us off, but not going to hard commit either. That's going to force Supreme to just get clearing earlier than he'd probably like to, along with Force here. But at least the goal doesn't bleed out, so you have some catch-up form coming out for the two cores. You still have this free space for Ulnit. Bach, despite having free space of his own, and already having that Urn up, again, saving for the Spirit Vessel. No charges yet on the Urn either. And they can't really try to hope to kill a Bristleback. It's just such a massive challenge. You've got level 5 up for Bengen and Swall. 1-2-1, pocketing that next skill point. Whether or not he needs to heal or can go for Maldic or the stun. Into the level 6, it is a pretty scary timing. Like, MOUZ are still lined up for that really big spike, but, you know, Azure Ray are doing a good job of just holding on. Phylactery not too far off for Ori. You've got the Maelstrom coming out for low.
They might have got side there for a second, but Olin thinks better of it. Who's going to show up top lane? It seems like they want to try. FY's messing around here with Bengen and Olin. They'll land a stun. FY's still being chased down, but Ori is right behind them. They'll go for the Witch Doctor first, I think. FY dropping lower, but he comes fast with the Black Hole available. They'll take down Bengen, but Ori, he's been left behind. Oh, no. And Buck saw it too. Buck's like, no, I don't want any of this. This is not the fight.
That was a really awkward force there. They were just basically fighting over an Obs ward in the deny. And Bengen still finds that deny, by the way. So it does deny the gold away. They get the freebie kill. They were both hesitating to kind of go for that ward. And the punishment is good. MOUZ going to be very happy with picking up that kill. With Olnet kind of grabbing at least one of them as well. And this Ag's timing on the Bristle is going to be sickeningly fast. Even just into the Voodoo Mask, it's going to be so hard to try to find a way to stop that. At least Spirit Vessel is done on Bach, so you have some ways to mitigate that. They are starting to group up down bot onto Force.
Find him, Young Ming. Sets up with the Frostbite. Low does have Chrono up if he wants to commit, and I think he may have to. They'll pulverize up the Void. Low, get the Chrono. He's going to find two with that one. Finding Narman on the tail end, though. Here comes Supreme to try and help out. And they're going to aim down Ori on the Zeus. They want the big target immediately. Meanwhile, Low, has he been left behind? Bengen, they'll chase down Ori. They take him down now onto Tianming. They'll find another. Low at least gets his way out, but it's costing too much. They keep losing Ori on the Zeus. I don't think it's worth.
No. It's not worth. Again, you get something going with a Chrono, but you're sacrificing a little bit too much. You are giving space to Bach. He is getting room to get his Blink going. Maybe at that point, you can truly go for the 5-man and start to give a little bit more spacing out for Ori. But they're not done. I mean, Ultimate does not care. He knows Chrono's down now as well, so he is free to do what he wants. Your one tower set to fall down bot. You're at a good point now for Supreme. Off this tower is going to have the Blink money, but the TA can start to get super active now with the Dragonlance up and the Blink. And once that Deso is up, Roche is going to be a big threat. Heck, even before the Deso is up, it does feel like you could gun for it if you want to run in with Ulnet. It's a couple of stacks of Nasal Goo and a couple of melds. Roche will still fall fast. Not time to respond to this shove up top as well. They're not able to fully commit on the side of Azure Ray. It does feel like you are getting a lot for Bach, but you kind of want to see a presence from this Enigma soon. Again, waiting for the Blink isn't too bad, but even just using the Spirit Vessel will make a world of difference.
They'll try Bengen down at bottom lane, though. Bengen's healing up quite fast with that Voodoo Restoration, just proving to be an absolute menace here on the Witch Doctor. They'll finally get him. Bash, thank you very much. Low will take the kill. Mind you as well, earlier on, we did actually see the Courier of Ulnet being lost. That was his Agged components being lost in that Courier, but he didn't have the point booster anyway. So Courier's back up in 40 seconds. He'll have the point booster by then. And then you've got a big problem because the Aghanim Scepter's now going to be available on the Bristleback. And well, John, that Ag's really... I really hate playing against this Aghanim Bristleback.
I like it. It's such a funny little Ags. I mean, I have a friend that just loves spamming it, and it's hilarious. It's also funny because when you force staff, it just acts a little bit weird. It's a funny little thing because of the direction he faces, so there's some fun things you can do, but it's not going to be fun for Azure Ray. Again, at the least, they've got the Spirit Vessel, but we haven't seen that impact just yet from Bach. And not until the Blink, maybe even just the Blink BKB to really feel confident in coming in. All the space in the world for MOUZ to hit this spike. They've got the Blink on Supreme.
Force. Catches low. Not much else to it. Force is just being a bit of a menace here. Just wants to establish dominance.
Yeah, as Force does.
Make cost. FY's around. Hookshot is available. He is within range to land if he does want to try, and it's right on the mark. Very nice from FY. Low has Chrono, but we've seen this before. Right by the T1 bottom tower. He will not commit. Force is still a little bit too tanky, especially when Bengen's around with the Voodoo Restoration. I think Azure Ray obviously just want to continue playing the slow game. No rush here. They just want to drag this out as long as humanly possible. But now with the Ags up on Ulnet, I think this might be around the time that MOUZ want to go.
Yeah, they should be set to make things happen. Again, that lines up with Supreme having this Blink. He is going for the Shard first. And once he does have that short 15-minute mark, the silence should, again, really simplify how these fights break out here for the side of MOUZ. Still Azure Ray looking for something off the back of the smoke that's still running. They still have that chrono ready on low. If they catch both Force and Bengen in the chrono, this could be an easy time.
Ori's got an arcane rune bottled up as well, so it could be a very strong fight if they do get that big chrono. Ori could dish out just so much damage with that arcane rune. Force is there, misses, actually Force does not get stunned.
Oh,
Low, he'll go for a chrono. They're still going to try for the
healing's there.
Coming, do they have the damage? Force, he is down, but Low, how does he get out now?
Oh my God.
He's been perma-stunned there for a moment. He'll still run. The Time Walk was there, but Low just cannot get away. Oh, he's going to try Time Walk again, TP out. Do they have a stun? They do not. Low is all right. Completely calculated. No sweating here from Low.
That was a close call. They get the big kill they'd want off the back of that chrono. And Low's just more than happy to use chrono back off. Force a huge response out from MOUZ. That's time where they're not farming. They're not able to get any trade back, so they're not able to keep that build up they'd want. I'm a little bit surprised that it did still end up catching Bengen in back. I feel like the Witch Doctor, again, is just outside of that chrono, manages to pop the cask. Very different story, just missing out a couple of ticks of damage. But again, that's an opening Azure Ray definitely needed to find. And that does keep them in the game. Equalizing 1k net worth lead for MOUZ doesn't amount to too much. Supreme still in the lead. The Force is the sacrificial lamb now in terms of net worth. Right at the bottom. Again, the Primal Beast doesn't need much. He is the one getting all the pressure. It's not the Bristle or the TA, which are the bigger targets for Azure Ray to run for. They're just not able to spot them out.
Ori, he's not going to be able to TP in time. Disruption was there from Narman. Ori's in the middle of nowhere right now. No Heavenly Jump available. He is down. Another massive kickoff here for MOUZ. They immediately TP up towards the top lane, trying to chase down Bark. They'll get the sticky, rather than Vicious Nasal Goo onto Bark. Bark being slowed up completely, but they miss all the quills. Still, they continue the chase. Keep in mind, Black Hole and Blink is up on Bark if he has the chance. They'll go for the fight. FY, that's a very nice cogs, but where's the follow-up to it? I don't see it yet, FY. He's going to go down low, trying to move in. So is Bark, but Bark gets caught. Bark gets caught. Bark is down. Oh, they were so grouped up too, but they just didn't have the numbers. There was just no point to Black Hole.
Oh, Azure Ray just streamed in. One by one, MOUZ was there on Force. And the response from Azure Ray just a little bit too slow. Fragmented coming in there. Couldn't find a good target to hookshot there for FY. With Ulnet taking that forward point on the Bristle, knowing that that's not the target to isolate. And they fully commit with a freezing field very early on, thinking that Bach could get the blink angle. It's just such an awkward angle. MOUZ, off the back of that exchange now, 5k up 90-11. You're reaching that point where this Bristle is just going to be so hard to contain. I mean, with the Ags it already is, but with a Bloodstone on top, I don't think the Spirit Vessel is going to be enough, especially once he gets the BKB on top.
Chrono has been committed. They have got Force in that Chrono. Force trying to find a way out of this one, but cannot. He is gone. Still, they continue the fight. Olna taking down Ori very easily as now they find Bark on the Enigma. And Bark, he is not being left alone. He will go down to the Meld Strike off Supreme. Tianming not looking too safe either. Will be chased here by Narman. Eventually should just be dead. He'll continue to run, continue to buy a bit of space, but Narman will be able to secure the kill. And this is the second team fight. We've seen the exact same thing. Just Bark is not able to stay out of vision. Someone's always finding this Enigma. They are not allowed in the counterplay here from the Enigma whatsoever. And I don't know what you do about it. I mean, maybe Bark just has to buy smoke for himself and just stay a mile away.
Feels like that has to be the play. FY can be fed to Allnet, will hookshot away at least. But you can see just the threat of the Bristleback really coming into play now. You just don't have any breathing room when this guy's online with Yags. It's a bit of a nightmarish experience. They are still clumped around mid, but Supreme is more than willing to jump in.
Supreme. And he does have the Illusion Rune, so we'll be able to just take off the Spirit Vessel and we'll be okay to back off. As now Force. Force has the full pipe of Inside Up. He's feeling very tanky with this team. Making life very hard for Ori, of course. Low will get spotted by Force. Force will force him away from the large camp, and that'll be about it. And I think Force in this Primal Beast, it's a real problem. Like he's always in a very face-forward position, always finding the Enigma every single team fight. Just so tanky as well with the pipe up. FY, in the meantime, top lane now being chased down by Olnet. Olnet has slowed him up quite a lot here in FY. I do not believe can survive that damage output. That is insane.
You gotta love that bristleback gameplay. All the buttons in the world.
Oh, Bach.
Oh no. Oh god.
TP'd into the...
Yeah. Nah.
Olnet lets him know about it. You know, it's one thing to make a mistake, but Olnet will rub salt into the wound.
Oh yeah, he's feeling himself. I mean, I don't know if he should be feeling himself that hard when you're playing bristleback, but you know what? Let the guy have it. He's having fun. And yeah, he's definitely anyone that willingly plays bristleback safe lane is bristleback in general and goes for this build. You're kind of deranged, because it is a very deranged. It's so easy. I mean, not that it's easy, but you know, it's very simple gameplay, but it's so hard to beat down. Needs some coordination, and it's just tough right now for Azure Ray to find that coordination.
Yeah.
Bach is working himself towards the Ags, so you will have that pull and the equivalent percent-based HP damage, which is always nice. It's just that it's a million miles away for you to find that full Ags. I'm surprised he's not going for BKB. I feel like that would help with the confidence in coming in. That will force to try to pierce through with a pulverize. MOUZ going for a smoke play.
I find a goof back on Gaimin. Gaimin trying to get his way out. Will be fine. They do not have the TP cancel. I think going back to the item build of Bach, I think he just realizes he literally needs to make that game-saving play, right? Like with the Aghanim Scepter Black Hole, it can change everything. Oh, Ori! He would have felt the wind on the backside there as he got out. My goodness, that was a bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, instantly TP's out as well once he's across that gate. They will give out Roshan, and this is a key time. You've got the amp damage room for Xtreme bottled up. You've got all the minus armor in the world with the meld and the goo. This is not going to take long from MOUZ. Azure Ray theoretically could fight there. They just aren't in that position. Scan will give it away, and it's just too fast. That is going to be a nice Aegis for Supreme. Play with confidence now to look for bigger fights. Grouping up for top.
Certainly are. They say Bach again. Bach, how do you get out of this one? Oh, the rock
Oh
throw.
my god.
Nobody ever expects the rock throw. They say don't throw stones at glass houses, but I'll tell you, Force could not give a crap.
Yeah, I remember when Primal Beast first got his shard Ags, and it was actually Force we were watching while he was on Polaris, and he loved that rock throw. He kept landing all those rock throws, and well, he lands them again right when it's needed. Going straight for the blink next on our Primal Beast. Just have that straightforward initiation, not like they're lacking it right now in MOUZ. The side of Azure Ray, we need to see this big team fight come out. No, it's been good pickoffs for the Chrono. We haven't seen a black hole from Bach at all.
No.
And it's just been such a tough time to find that angle. But again, like you were talking about the benefits of the Ags, like that pull and the HP burn is great, but it feels like if you can't even get the black hole, I don't know if the Ags helps. He does switch for the BKB. So at least he can pop BKB, get 1 or 2 man black hole, play off the back of that. That's where things can start to get interesting for Azure Ray, especially in the high ground. In a very confined area, MOUZ could struggle to find an angle in.
The OK Ori will run the right way to avoid the trap. I don't think it's Bach's. Oh, hold on a minute, Supreme. Look at a blow up Tianming. Oh, he's got it too. Nothing you can do about that. Tianming getting the TA treatment. Meanwhile, Force rushing right in, trying to fight Bach. Does get the pulverize. Ori trying to help, but can do nothing but watch. Watch his teammate die. As Olnet now looking to dive tier 3 towers. We'll think better of it, but I'll tell you, John, I like the chemistry on this team. And MOUZ, this is an interesting roster. I think it was Immortal Faith who fielded this. It feels like an Immortal Faith kind of roster. I like it.
Yeah, it's certainly working out well now. Again, they had a little bit of a rocky time in some of their online tournaments, a rocky time in the qualifiers, but day 2 here in Wallachia, 1 series down, they are showing up. And that's the kind of rally we need to see coming out from them. I love that move from Force. You know, he jumps in, he gets the gem on top of that as well to compensate. Gets the prize he's really looking for. Chrono ready for low.
Gotta do something. Bach's coming up in a moment. They've got a Chrono right now, I think,
Oh
but
my
Low has
god,
no
man.
chance. Oh boy. Now with him down for 45, I mean, you could try to back off at 20. I mean, look at Ori. He just does no damage.
No.
That's with the phylactery up. It's just with the pipe available, with the cloak on Oldit, he's taking nothing.
No. There's no output. They're relying way too much on this magical output. There's no physical at all on low just yet. Doesn't even have like the 20 talent to boost his DPS in the chrono. Racks will just get taken. They can't go Megas with a tier 2 standing bot at the least. You might as well have to come back for that later. Maybe the smoke pays off.
Feels like they can go tier 4 towers if they really want to. Where this game's gone. Luckily for them, Low is coming back here on Azure Ray, so the fight that they need to see needs to happen right now, I think, because MOUZ are not backing off. FY is looking to set up. This is the kind of thing, right? You need someone to set the distraction, and it does feel like it has to be FY to make the jump in and find a way to group them up in those cogs and set up the fight that way. We'll see if they can make it work. Oldit, he's still healing up through all of this. But with the Voodoo Restoration, he's just not dying. And
God, not again.
He's jumped in with the pulver. Oh, I can't even finish the sentence. I really can't. Low is gone again. Oh, what do you do, John? What are you meant to do here? Oh, it's literally just teasing.
No, they call it.
Get him out of here. This is a masterclass on how to play a draft like this, I think, from MOUZ.
Yeah, they have a good read on what they want to do. They open up for that Primal Beast this time. They get very strong lanes coming out. Like, just the support duo pickup of Shadow Demon Witch Doctor, I think, was already really impressive. Then they have the synergy with TA Bristleback.